Annamie Paul, Green Party leader, is going to speak. I want to go to her. I want the panel to stay with us. Let's listen in to Green Party leader Annamie Paul. She is in downtown Toronto.
I'm here on the traditional territories of the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat. You know, my kids are here today in the background, and I was telling them that I'm glad I didn't put money on whether this election would be called or not. Because I told them there is no way that an election is going to be called at this time. And they said, Mom, I think there's an election that's going to be called. And it turns out that they were right. The reasons that I don't believe that an election should be called at this time, and that the Green Party doesn't believe that an election should have been called at this time, is told in the numbers. And here are a few of them. 270, 49, 570, and 4. 270, that's the number of fires that are raging right now in British Columbia. 6,000 properties have been evacuated, and almost 28,000 others are on high alert. 49. 49 is the number of degrees that BC experienced and the town of Lytton experienced just over a month ago, that left that town burned to the ground. We are experiencing the worst drought on the prairies, perhaps in the history of Canada, and the worst drought Canada has ever experienced if it keeps going this way for much longer. 570. 570 is the number of Canadians who died directly linked to the heat dome that settled over British Columbia. 570 Canadians who would otherwise not have died. And 4, we are in a 4th wave. We are officially in the 4th wave of this pandemic. And for anyone who wants to tell me or the people behind me that we are out of it or it is different, they are wrong, and they should come down to this neighborhood where we have many frontline workers, where we had hot spots like St. Jamestown that had the highest rates of infection for much of the pandemic. They should tell my mother, who is expecting her latest grandchild in a couple of days, and won't be able to go and be there in the hospital with my sister because of the pandemic. They should tell her that the pandemic is over. And so these are the numbers that tell the story. And there was a time that when calling an election under any of these circumstances would have been unimaginable. There was a time when any of these events would have provoked an emergency recall of Parliament. Let us also take a moment to acknowledge as well that the Haitian community in Canada is very worried at this time. There are hundreds of Haitians who died tragically in the earthquake on Saturday. Let us also take this moment to remember and to recognize that Kabul has fallen today. Kabul, where 40,000 Canadian servicemen and women served, where 1,000 and more were 1,000 were wounded, and over 159 lost their lives. Kabul has fallen. Kabul has fallen, and instead of going back to Parliament on an emergency basis to ask, how will we protect the women and girls and people who remain behind? How will we ensure that all of the sacrifice that Canada and our servicemen and women have made was not in vain? We are headed to the polls. And then let me add one last number, 500. 500 million. 500 million is how much the last non-pandemic election costs. And let's ask ourselves what we could have done with that money and how many people we could have helped with that $500 million. And so why are we here then? After the Prime Minister said just in May that there would be no pandemic election. We are here because the Liberals have decided that they want all the power, that they want a majority, and they think that now is the best time to get it. Ils ont décidé de déclencher une élection.
Decided to call an election in these circumstances. It was unimaginable It's a testimony to how this current government puts Canadians to the bottom of the list.
And instead of focusing on public health has lost out to partisan ambition. Here's what could have been accomplished in 2 years that are left, because we have areas of commonality, we have areas of collaboration, we have areas of cooperation between parties, and let's stop pretending that we don't. Let's do things for people in Canada. As you can see here, each one of these policies has been passed by the respective members of the respective parties. Guaranteed livable income, universal pharmacare, long-term care reform, and implementation of the calls for justice from the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls report, and a just transition for oil and gas workers. All of these extraordinary priorities, all of these that we agree on. 2 years is enough time to get this done if you have the will to do it.
If there's a will to do it, we can accomplish all these objectives. We have the votes, we have the mandate of our members, and we have a mandate from Canadians as well.
Again, common sense and collaboration has lost out to the quest for power. The thing that I believe that the backroom operators who cooked up this election have gotten wrong is that try as they might with their polling, try as they might with their calculations, they underestimate the desire of people for change. They underestimate the desire of people for change that this pandemic has provoked, and we are ready to strike out in a new direction.
Their calculations, their polls will never allow them, never allow them to calculate the ambition and determination of the Canadian people.
This is the best time for the Liberals to secure their majority. Ultimately, it will be up to you, the people of Canada, to decide who you send back to Ottawa to represent you. I know that many people in Canada are getting to know me and will get to know me over the next while. So let me just say a few things about myself. I'm a mother. My children are here today. I'm the daughter of immigrants. My mother is here today. My father sadly died in long-term care during this pandemic. I am a wife of 25 years. I am a sister. I am a social entrepreneur. I'm a former diplomat. I'm a lawyer. I'm a policy analyst. I am someone who had the great fortune of being trained at Princeton University and the University of Ottawa Faculty of Law. And because of that, I am someone who loves big ideas. I also love big, doable ideas. And I am a Canadian who believes, like all of the Canadians behind me, that there is a possibility of greatness within our country, and that we can be heroes, that we can be part of a generation of Canadians that will earn their place in the history books. I'm a
Canadian who believes in our possibilities, potential, the greatness of our nation, and our capacity to be heroes.
As did all of these Greens, because that is what we believe, and that is and we believe the Green Party offers the daring ideas to get us there. In normal times, the dearth of ideas that we have seen would be a problem, but in unprecedented times, it is fatal. Our country is suffering. It needs leadership. It needs leadership that offers a positive, progressive, and compelling vision about how we will repair the social and economic damage wrought by the pandemic, how we are going to secure our future prosperity, how we are going to tackle the climate crisis and build a more resilient society that leaves us better protected. That's where we come in. Cue the Green Party. In my past 10 months as leader, I've emphasized that we need to seize the opportunity to address three great challenges: turbo boosting our move to a green economy, completing our social safety net, and forging a just society. The green economy represents the greatest economic opportunity of our lifetime. It is estimated to generate more than $1 trillion US per year by 2030. And Canada has the chance of a lifetime not only to definitively bend the curve on greenhouse gas emissions, but also to set ourselves up with the jobs of the future, to set ourselves up with the competitive economy of the future. It's where the jobs of the future are, it's where the smart money is going, and it's where Canada needs to become a global leader to secure our future. Alors, au lieu d'être le chef de file mondial,
of being the world leader in terms of greenhouse gas emissions, we have to recognize that at the moment, Canada is one of the worst emitter of greenhouse gas emissions. We're the worst. Not just the rich countries, but all countries, and we've never managed to reach even a single objective, one single target to reduce these emissions. We can do it, but we need a plan.
And while our party may be best known for its environmental focus, it is our innovative, evidence-informed social policies that have shone through during this pandemic. When I ran here in Toronto Centre in 2019, I spoke about the urgent need for guaranteed livable income. I spoke about the need for urgent long-term care reform, and I spoke about the need for decriminalization and the creation of a national safe supply to prevent the opioid deaths, related deaths that are ravaging this community. The pandemic has proved these concepts have worth, and it is very encouraging to see the cross-party cooperation and consensus that is emerging around these issues. But the thing to remember is that we are always going to need those big ideas. This is where the Green Party comes in. This is the thing that sets us apart. We are always going to need to innovate. We are always going to need to look down the road. We are always going to need those people who are the fearless champions of policies that we were the first to propose, like equal marriage, reviving the call for national pharmacare, or being the first to propose a shared carbon border with the United States. And so we see that people in Canada have said clearly that they do not want to go back to the way things were, and they are ready to strike out on a new path. We only do this through cooperation and collaboration. And again, look at how much we could accomplish through cooperation and collaboration if we set our minds to it. Si nous saisissons la voie de coopération,
we take the path to cooperation, we will seize the possibility of greatness.
do this together. We are in this together. We will only accomplish great things together. And so, in honor of the 570 Canadians who lost their lives in British Columbia in the month of June, imagine if Canada was to become a global leader in limiting global warming, the most catastrophic effects of global warming, and securing our planet's future. Imagine. Le Canada peut devenir un leader.
Could become a leader, a world leader on slowing global warming.
In honor of the 15,000 people who died in long-term care, including my own father, avoidably during the pandemic, imagine if we made Canada the best place in the world to age. And imagine if we made Canada the very best place to live a life of dignity from the first day to the last day. It is possible. I need some, yeah. You have to believe it. We all have to believe that it's possible. And in honor of the Indigenous children whose unmarked graves are still being discovered across our country, Imagine if we became a global model for what it looks like to respect Indigenous sovereignty, Indigenous self-determination, and true nation-to-nation engagement. And so in this election, which again, someone get that for me, which again, we should not be here, this should not have been called, that is what we are asking people in Canada to imagine. And we are asking them to come and talk to us. For those who say that we are dreamers, of course we are, and we need to be. But we are practical dreamers. We are people that have a plan. We are people who have proven the value of our policies over many, many years now. We are leading scientists, and one of them is here, Phil DeLuna from Toronto St. Paul's, our candidate. We are entrepreneurs. We are entrepreneurs. We are physicians. We are students. We are creatives. We are academics. We are civil society leaders. And we are here at the end of the day for you. We are here at the end of the day because we share your values, and we are here to be your fearless, tireless champions in whatever community you come from. And remember that whenever a Green is elected, they stay elected. Because that's how much we care about the communities we represent. I am seeking to be that champion for this community, one that is so generous, so resilient, and has provided us with our frontline workers, has provided us with our healthcare workers, has done so much for itself during this pandemic, and just needs a little help from the real representation that it deserves. And so my leaders tour, the bulk of it, was going to be here in this community. And I'm going to invite all of Canada to join me as I tour the neighborhoods of this very special community and talk about the issues that matter to people across Canada, and talk about the difference that our Green policies could make in your lives. My election as leader of the Green Party of Canada was proof that this can still be a country of extraordinary firsts, that this can still be a country where we can make history. I approach this election in the same way that I approached the election for the leadership of my party, with hope, with humility, with humor, and yes, to my kids, I can be funny. Yeah, okay. With humor, and most of all, from start to finish, I hope with a great deal of honesty and honor. And I extend the same invitation to all Canadians, all of the people of Canada, as I did on the night that I was elected leader. I say to them, to every person that is ready to be daring, to every person that is ready to strike out in that new direction towards a better future, I say welcome, I say now is the time, and I say join us. Thank you so much.